We're talking about Donald Trump. Broke boy Donald Trump. If you're a broke boy, just say so. Trump is unable to make a $464 million bond in his civil fraud case because he's broke. That's it. He is not buying the Pokemon cookies, okay, anytime soon.
Able to get a bond to pay the $464 million fraud judgment, calling it, and I'm quoting now, a practical impossibility. CNN's Kara Scannell is joining us from New York right now. Kara, what can you tell us?
Trump should get his money up and not his funny up. He's been getting his funny up too much. People saying Elon's going to bail him out with what money, dog? With what money? How's Elon going to bail him out? Elon should bail himself out first. What's he got? You think he's got 464 million just laying around? They're having a broke off, dude. Wait, so Trump did need a GoFundMe? Yes. Like people saying Elon has billions of Tesla stock. Okay, you think he's going to sell Tesla stock? Like, that's insane. Or you think at the current interest rates that exist, Elon is going to leverage his Tesla stock to get a loan that is $500 million to bail Donald Trump out? That is insane. Buying a president is one thing, but I feel like, a little difficult to do here.
If they can't get a bond, collection efforts go forward, which first of all can be expensive. Okay, there's a court process where the New York Attorney General is going to be trying to collect that judgment, could potentially put liens on properties, essentially entering that order into various other proceedings.
And when they put liens on the properties, they're definitely not using the Trump valuations on the properties. Come on, I don't get it. Just put a lien on Mar-a-Lago, you know what I mean? That's worth like what, $10 billion according to Donald Trump?
For example, so that would potentially be an issue for Trump. If he's already got his real estate highly encumbered with loans and so on, having to deal with collection efforts and pay attorneys to fight off collection efforts is yet another problem that he doesn't want to have to deal with. However, what I will say is that this is not a complete surprise to Donald Trump. It's not like the New York Attorney General's case happened over the course of minutes. It happened over the course of years. And Trump could anticipate a potential judgment. And the fact that he hasn't prepared by refinancing and selling properties and so on suggests that he may be less wealthy than he has portrayed himself to be.
Oh, on that note, thank you for teeing up Kristen Holmes, who covers the Trump campaign for us. Kristen,
if you're a broke boy, just say so.
You know very well that a big part of Donald Trump's identity is how wealthy he is. And the idea that he can't pay this money, I mean, it wouldn't be out of this world for you or I or most normal people not to pay $500 million and not to have that lying around in our bank account. But it might be different when it comes to how Donald Trump thinks he's perceived.
Yeah, and Jen, I just
want
to start.
Support? Biden or Trump? RFK, baby.
By saying that you should know that there are a lot of Trump allies who watch your show, and they've been texting me with the argument.
RFK, Jesse the Body Ventura ticket. That's right. Jesse the Body Ventura is going to be the president after he's RFK's vice president.
Of one. Most billionaires are not liquid. This is not that surprising. The other argument saying this is about the insurance companies, this insane amount, this is their words, not mine, in terms of the bond. These insurance companies can't get that much money, that much collateral. So there is an argument here among Trump world. But as you know, Donald Trump himself has painted himself, his entire image, not just politically, but also before that, his brand on being a billionaire. And that is why this case was so personal for him in the first place, was the idea that everything he had built was essentially on a lie, it was fraudulent, that he wasn't really this rich, that he had inflated those numbers. That's why you saw him so fascinated and so intent on being part of this case, sitting in that courtroom, listening to these various witnesses, because it is to his personal brand. It also goes to his political brand. This idea that I built myself up as a billionaire and I could do that for you too goes away if you can't afford to pay this kind of money.
And let me just go back to Renato on this, because you did mention that most real estate developers are not liquid. They can't just write a $500 million check. I think that is probably true for most billionaires.
Damn, dude, they're just flexing on him. They are currently flexing on Donald Trump. They're calling him a broke dude. Chill. That's fucked up.
If they have assets, the question is, you kind of said maybe if he prepared, he would start to sell things off. I mean, is that a real possibility that he might have to do that?
I will just say that in other circumstances, other matters that I've handled, that is what's happened. Essentially, real estate developers refinance properties, sell properties, do what they have to do to get cash. Now, candidly, I've never been in a case where a real estate developer needed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions. It's only been in the tens of millions, but nonetheless, for those real estate developers, it was a very significant ask, right, to come up with that kind of money if you have if your net worth is in the hundreds of millions. And so, but for Donald Trump, nonetheless, he could have anticipated this and sold a property in the midst of the New York Attorney General's proceeding. And I really would say one of two things is true here: either he doesn't have the wealth that he suggests he has, or he didn't plan whatsoever, was so blind to what was occurring that he essentially left himself in a position where now he's going to incur significant costs and hassle and a disruption to his business that was unnecessary.
All right. Yeah, he's a broke boy. He's been a broke boy. He needs to get his money up. He needs to not get his money up, but he's been getting his money up too hard. So Donald Trump over the weekend had some statements, and some of those statements were incendiary as always, and others were taken out of context. Mainstream media came after our boy specifically, and the Brandon camp came after our boy specifically when Trump said, if I don't get reelected, it will be a bloodbath. Now, they were quick to jump on that and go, oh my God, he's talking about murder on the streets. So understandable fear that people might have considering January 6th when he didn't win. However, turns out our big, beautiful boy got clip-chimped. And I'm going to tell you exactly how in a moment. Let's take a look.
To the latest on our presidential race, the presumptive Republican nominee, former President Donald Trump, is taking heat for the language he used at a rally in Ohio over the weekend, where he lashed out at migrants and defended January 6 criminals. Ed O'Keefe has more now from the White House for us. Ed, Donald Trump's former vice president says he will not endorse him. We are in unusual territory here, to say the least. What is going on?
That's right, Tony. We sure are. Mike Pence says his differences with Donald Trump aren't over style or language. Pence argues his former boss is walking away from conservative principles like fiscal responsibility and opposition to abortion. So he can't back him.
I've come to the conclusion that I won't be endorsing Donald Trump this year.
A forceful rebuke from Donald.
Boo! Traitor. You have no constituency. No one cares. You suck. You abandoned our president in the moment that he needed you the most. You're a fake friend. You're a phony. We don't like you.
The reason why I won't endorse Donald Trump this year is because I see him departing from the mainstream conservative agenda.
Beyond policies, the two have clashed over the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. On Saturday, Trump kicked off an Ohio rally with support for the January 6th defendants.
Can you see the spirit from the hostages? And that's what they are, is hostages.
On Sunday, some members...
Yeah, he called the J6ers hostages, which I think is awesome. He's an abolitionist. That is my abolitionist king. Our prison's obsolete. Folks, let me tell you, we must focus on rehabilitative justice because justice is what love looks like in public. That's right, folks. He's a prison abolitionist only for white people? Yes.
Trump went on to stoke fear about criminals coming across the southern border.
Well, I don't know if you call them people. In some cases, they're not people, in my opinion.
And speaking about the auto industry and cars manufactured abroad, he said,
we're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the
Look at this fucking dildo
line, and you're not going to be able to sell those cars. If I get elected, now if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole... That's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath.
The Biden campaign criticized.
Immediately, they seized on it. They clip-chimped him. They seized on it. And they were like, wow, he's saying there's going to be a bloodbath. To be fair, under other circumstances, Trump has basically likened, he uses spicy language for sure. And and do I believe that he's not like memeing on what will happen if he doesn't get elected as far as like political violence? Certainly. But this isn't one of those instances. Do I believe personally that Donald Trump and his supporters might do another January 6th? Maybe. It's not unlikely, but he's not talking about that here. He's saying like it's going to be a bloodbath for you economically. Okay, it's obvious. The actual spicy language that he utilizes is not even spicy. It's just straight Nazi language that he utilizes when talking about undocumented immigrants and immigrants alike, where he basically said in that same speech moments prior to this that like these guys aren't human. How the do you not get mad at that, but you get mad at like it's going to be a bloodbath if you don't elect me? Because Democrats also are like, no, he's right on that. Like he's going full fash saying they're not people. And the Democrats are like, I can't believe he said it's going to be a bloodbath if he's not elected, because of the EV tariffs. It's very frustrating. It's very, 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 very frustrating. Look at that dude at the rally behind Trump with the red tie, black coat, and glasses. Is that the most incel looking motherfucker you've ever seen? Yes. He has the blockiest head I've ever seen in my life too.
Bath for the whole. That's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country.
Now, of course, we don't have to think about what could happen if Donald Trump doesn't get elected and the bloodbath that might ensue, because he is going to get elected. Unless the Democrats change course dramatically, he already is going to get elected. So you don't have to worry about what happens when he doesn't. You should start worrying about what happens when he does. Ryan Grimm and Aaron Rupar went to war over this clip. Oh, this is funny. So do I have the straight? Trump said if he's not elected and we don't put tariffs on Chinese EVs, there will be a bloodbath in the auto industry. And that's reported as him saying there will be a general bloodbath. Headline writers, don't outsmart yourself. Just do Trump promises bloodbath if he doesn't win election. No, you don't have that right, but that's very on brand for you. So that's not what he said. I heard it in the clip. That's what it sounded like he said. I don't like Trump, but pretty sure Ryan got it right in what he said. Nope, when he says it'll be the least of it, he's referring to cars. The bloodbath of the whole country is not about cars. This is awesome. This is a perfect rehashing of 2016. Trump says something purposely incendiary. Liberals don't just like focus on all the other incendiary shit that he said that's like directly tangible policies. Liberals jump the gun and say, see, he used the term bloodbath. He means like they're going to do J6 style bloodbath. And then Trump and his supporters go, fake news. That's not what he was saying, because it literally wasn't what he was saying in that situation. And the irony, of course, is that he has basically said that, there will obviously be moments like of political violence on numerous other occasions. So like liberals feel galvanized in defending that position. They feel like of course he's going to do political violence. He's said it many, many times over. And then we consistently get like all those moderates to be more polarized that were already like begging to vote for Trump anyway. They were looking for any out and rehash the 2016 cycle over and over again. Hyper-focus on Donald Trump's incendiary statements in the wrong ways. Hyper-focus on Trump's incendiary statements, not the actual ones that are like tangible and reflect his policy outlook. And then we have a semantics conversation over and over again. Nope, when he says that'll be the least of it, he's referring to cars. The bloodbath of the whole country is not about cars. I get why MAGAs and anti-Trumpers are muddying the waters, though. You can't be this stupid, so you must be lying. So you acknowledge that the first bloodbath was indeed a reference to the economic damage of the auto industry. Bloodbath is a common term for financial catastrophe. This obvious context when he talks about the rest of the country clearly shows he's claiming similar economic catastrophe will hit the whole country and the auto industry will collapse. It will be the least of it. Then he goes back to talking about the auto industry. Trump is a dangerous lunatic, but you're just flat out lying here, or just dumber than I ever thought. Pathetic. Ryan, he's saying that if he loses, there will be a bloodbath and the auto industry will be the least of it. It doesn't take a genius to listen to the clip and figure that out, but I'll leave the tortured anti-Trumpism to you. It's your specialty. It is impossible to listen to, or like the notion that we have to have like a separate category for anti-Trumpism is so dumb, because Ryan is not pro-Trump. I am not pro-Trump. Ryan, in this instance especially so, is just simply pro-truth. You are saying, you don't want to say that. You don't want to say that like you're actually reading the statement. You're reading the statement as it's intended, and that is like because you don't want this to be weaponized by the trumpets. And immediately that's like, well, you must be a trumpet yourself, but we know that you're not a trumpet, so we'll just claim that you're anti-Trump. It's very stupid. You can interpret it both ways. I agree with your point, but there's no truth. No, the point is, Trump has already talked about political violence time and time again. Trump has also led to political violence. He literally talks about the January 6th prisoners that went to jail for doing an insurrection as hostages. It is clear how he feels about political violence. He is on board with it. He is on board with political violence. You don't have to manufacture an additional narrative off of something that he can very easily defend. It is so stupid. It is so stupid. And to present people like Ryan especially as like anti-Trump, as though they don't as though they specifically hate, like as though they are the real centrists here, is idiotic. What did Asmongold say? Yeah, exactly. It's the Asmongold quote about, you know, people making up shit about me. If what I say is so bad, why make up shit? Except in this circumstance, Trump does say a lot of bad shit, so you don't have to look that far and then have the media narrative be driven by did he or did he not mean that there's going to be political violence, especially when there will be political violence and he will definitely say that there should be political violence down the line anyway. That's why it's so stupid.